Here we go. All right, we're gonna wait a couple minutes for people to get online. We just went live. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Good. How's your Advent going? A little fast? Advent's going really fast right now. Like all of us, there's already a lot of things going on, and if anything comes unexpected or anything, boom, that's it. You know, it's that throws you off too. And we're going to talk here in a minute. Just want to talk a little bit about last week, just for a few minutes, and then we're going to go into today and what we're doing. Last week, if you remember, we were in Nazareth. And again, we're trying to tell this story, Kathy, about, she doesn't even know I'm talking to her. Gosh, she cracks me up. So anyway, we were in Nazareth, remember, and we went and saw the cave of Mary. And there Gabriel came and spoke to Mary. You know, this is a story that I think is read very quickly. This piece with Mary, because somebody came up to me last week after the class and had a very interesting question, which I think a lot of people think is, I always thought Mary didn't have a choice. She was being told what was happening to her. But actually, she says, I'm going to do the will of God. So no, she was not forced into making this decision. Mary makes the decision. It's not only an incredible miracle, right? This angel comes and this baby is made. And we got to see the altar last week. If you remember, this is where it happened. This is, you know, Word becomes flesh, and in that moment, in that spot. But in that, Mary again understands what the culture is, and the culture would be death. Okay, she would be stoned to death. Obviously, if you're betrothed in that culture, it's not engaged as engaged today. It is basically you're married. In other words, families have made the arrangements. Family has made the deal. Okay, and so to break that is death, and it would be death for her. So imagine Mary not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, but knows for a fact a good chance it's going to be death when they finally see that I'm pregnant. And yet she tells the angel of the Lord, I'm your servant. That's huge. That's huge, knowing that this is probably in her mind thinking, I'm doomed, but yet I'm going to do this still for the Lord. So imagine for us, what does that really mean for us? Think about, what does Jesus call us to do, and we are concerned. We are afraid. We're too busy. We have other things to do. Maybe I'm not good enough. And yet you have this child, and let's face it, Mary was a child, of saying, I will do your will. I think it's something we need to really think about in Advent. As we slow down, I know that's an oxymoron, right? It's to slow down in Advent. We used to have these big calendars in the Episcopal Church, slow down, it's Advent. And the clergy who sit there in the altar guild and all would just like laugh at it. I mean, right? It's like, seriously? Because we speed up. But really, at least our spirit should be slowing down and listening to the call of God. All of us have callings, believe it or not. We were all ordained in our baptism, so you're all ordained. What is God calling you to do? I've used this many times when I I had this lady, an elderly lady who came up to me, and I did a sermon on callings. And she said, you know, I would, but look at me. I mean, what else can I do? I can't go and lift boxes. I can't go do this. And I asked her, I said, could you do me a favor? And you pray. She goes, every morning. In your prayer, will you please pray for me? That's a calling. She didn't realize she had a calling of prayer. She goes, well, I pray for the church. I pray for, there you go. So we all have a calling. And I want you to think about that. And think about Mary. I really, when it comes to a calling and that heaviness on the heart that I think I'm being called for this or that, I think about Mary. Because Mary as far as she was concerned, was walking into her death. But yet she trusted enough in God to walk forward. That's incredible. At least it is to me. I hope it is to you. So then we went to Joseph last week, right, in Nazareth. And in Nazareth, there's Joseph. What is Joseph going to do? She's pregnant. Am I going to be embarrassed? I mean, what? And yet he also accepts the call to care for them, to love her and to be with her, right, in that time. And he does it. And he had all the right under the customs to have her eliminated. No one would have ever batted an eye at Joseph. Remember, her father, and they have made a deal. There's been a pact together, and it's been broken. But yet, he takes the will of God instead of pride. And he could have taken that easily. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, right? I'm right. And everybody consulting him. But yet, he takes God. Think about that again. So now we're going from Nazareth. They take the nice trip, right? And we're getting ready to hear the story into Bethlehem. And that's where we're going to be today. My two assistants that were with me here, they were actually my travel companions. Today, my assistant will be. And so I've asked them to please, and I will ask again, if I've missed something, to please speak up and remind me of it. All right, let's hear the story.
A reading from the book of Luke. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went to the town of Nazareth in Galilee, to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. In that region, there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. They were terrified. The angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of heavenly hosts, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace among those whom he favors." When the angel had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds had told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told them. The word of the Lord.
Thank you very much. Douglas has a great reading voice. And so, anyway, so Christmas in the Holy Land. So let's go ahead and start taking our trip. Come on. Oh, not again.
There's a flight delay.
Yeah, there's always a flight delay. Oh, come on. All right. Oh, I'm just kidding. There we go.
That helps.
Look how many plugs you got to put into this thing, right? All right. So it's still not working. Come on. Yes. All right. So the first place we're going to go to is the Nativity. Obviously, there's a lot more into the story, and depending on what trip you take, they take you to different places in the Holy Land. So here, because where we went to Bethlehem. It looks kind of chaotic, and it is. I'm kidding. But here you go through, well, wait, I got my pointer, I forgot. You go through here, through what's called the Gate of Humility, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And you go inside, and here's the high altar, and it's a Greek Orthodox altar, and it's absolutely beautiful. Down below, remember how we talked about above, you've got your church. Down below is where everything happened. Down here is the nativity down here. So what you're going to do is you walk through here, okay, and you go through the side, and you go down, right? You're down these steps. Here's all these candles and beautiful artwork and stuff that you look at, and then go downstairs, and there you are in here. This is where Jesus is born, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. On the side here is where the manger was, and we'll see that, okay? And then you go out through here, and you come back up these steps right here, and you're back at the high altar. And then later you come through, and you come to the Franciscan courtyard, which I meant to have a picture put on here. I didn't. And you go in, and so you go there, and then you see the Grotto of St. Jerome, and here at St. Catherine's Church, okay? And then we actually exit through this way, and we're out. Any questions? That's it. That's the whole story, right? All right, so the Door of Humility is the main entrance into the church. I really love this. It reminds me of, the Eye of the Needle, right? You have a better chance to get through the Eye of the Needle. And there's been a lot of theories behind of this, but I'll give you the truth. One is to humility that you're going to naturally, at least for people my side, right, you're going to bow as you come in. They actually did it for looters way back in the day. They were having issues. If you'll notice, here was the door. You see that? Oh, okay. At one time. And so they brought this in the Crusades time. There was looters during the different fights. There was looters that would come in. And so they finally made this so it would be harder to take stuff out if you had to. But I love the humility. I think it's actually a beautiful theological piece too, of coming in immediately, you have to bow to it.
What are the approximate dimensions?
Hold on, I'll tell you what, I'll be able to show you. Here you go. There's me. Okay, so you can see how, so it comes up to here to me.
I'm short.
Yeah. What was that?
I had a hard time getting through there, and I'm short.
Yeah. Everybody's going to bow, pretty much, and to get down there, which is fun because you've got to go, and it's actually kind of smart the way they did it, because you got to go, and you also have to look down at these steps as you're going in. So you've got to pay attention. So if you're stealing stuff and you're trying to run, that may be a problem. Here's the high altar. The Greek high altar is absolutely beautiful. You come up and then you go down on this side to go in. And here's the beautiful artwork that they made. And so you see this as you're walking to go downstairs. See all the Greek? Beautiful. Look at this, just beautiful artwork. More altar. And then you can come up and you can actually get a candle and pray before you go in. And so we did that because we were very fortunate not to have a line. So I'm not quite sure, unless the line crosses in front of it, how you would do that, because I would not be in an hour and a half or 2 hour line and go get a candle and you're out of luck. And so anyway, you go and you can, so here we go. So after you do that, you go down. This is our group. There's Zoe right there. That's John Curtis. And they are walking down. So you're being very careful of the stairs, as you can see, going down underneath into the cave. There's my friend Everett. Right before me, took a picture of him. I need to actually still send that to him. I don't even know if he does it. And then once then you get in. You see our group down here. This is our leader right here taking pictures. Someone looks like they're taking a calendar pose. I don't know. I just see legs. There's Karen right here. And so, but already I want you to look at just the beauty that they've done over time. And so I went ahead and made a, I hope it will come on. Let's see.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to show you, and I'll try to go down here in a second, but Right here where Jesus was born, right down below is the Shepherd's Cave, in which they believe traditionally that Jesus was born, as well as his manger. I do have pictures of it that I'm going to show to all of you. But again, this is where it all happened.
All right, so I'm just letting y'all know, as I was standing there waiting, again, you can tell how lucky we were that I was able to do this, because it's unheard of to be able to do video. I don't know what's up with my voice. Was it like that when I was there? Maybe we were just so tired, because I sound like, what's the name from Yellowstone? Yeah, that's true. They didn't want you to talk, so that's it. Yeah, supposed to, except my friend Glenn, who had no problem with it. You'll hear him. He cracks up. Anyway, look at all the lamps. And so now you're down in the cave itself, where Jesus is born. Okay. There's Zoe. There's Karen right there, and that's our leader again. And they are taking more pictures.
Are those just candles hanging down?
Yeah.
Some of them are incense.
It also looks like
And
there's
it's
some
a-
holes in the wall or something like that.
Yeah, they have these holes, and I actually, did he tell us what those were?
No,
When I was redoing this and looking at the pictures, because I really haven't looked at these pictures since we left, and I was looking, I was like, I wish I'd have asked, but I was so excited. This is why I can't wait to go to Israel again. Is I was so excited of, everything you've studied for so long, and there it is in front of you. And so the excitement, like, a kid in a candy store. Now this time I think I would take a little bit more time and look at detail at the stuff of what it is instead of just the excitement. But when I saw this, I thought the same thing. Why are these holes? It's probably a pressure thing or something.
Are those
Yeah,
tapestries?
ventilation.
These look like tapestries?
Yeah, you were sitting there a while.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why you would cut, but it looks like metal, so it may be to hook it on. You can see it's metal right here. They did the same thing, but it may be ventilation being down there. Because remember, you're down in the cave now, and you got this big church above you.
Maybe because of the dampness, a tapestry would rot after a while. So
That's true.
ventilation there.
And it would smell so nice, wouldn't it? And here we are. This is where Jesus was born. They have a 14 star that is there. The 14 stars are for the three periods of 14 generations of Jesus. Okay, from Adam, and then going all the way up to King David. All right, and so here it's written on here. Here Jesus was born to the Virgin Mary. And you can stick your hand in there. I thought it was to the cave, but it's a plastic piece there. So probably over the years, the pilgrims put their hands on it, and they decided to put a piece of plastic right here. So they did this. By the way, this particular star was 1717 when they did it. Just give you all time range. All right, and so I did another video down there. My friend Glenn, this is who I'm talking about right here. He was doing the same thing for his class. He's a Methodist minister, great guy. We really hit it off.
Hey everybody, Father Keith is here, and I just wanted to show you once again another beautiful site, the Church of Nativity, in which our Lord Jesus Christ was born. Here on this spot, it's traditionally the place where they believe that Jesus was born. It is absolutely incredible. I have to touch it again just because it is. Again, where our Lord, where our God pierced into the world to come into the flesh to be with us so that we may be saved. Here at this site where our Lord Jesus Christ came to be with Mary and Joseph. Again, just think for a moment of what it really means for each and every one of us. And it all began on this site. Say hi, my friend.
Hi, guys. Nice to meet you all. Come on in.
We both, I don't know who he was.
My friend, yeah.
And we've been doing a series throughout the Holy Land, and again, with my friends here, we're here to say, and I'll show it to you one more time. Again, where Jesus traditionally born, and then the manger site here in the cave, and again the manger, which would have been a feeding trough, but it's also made out of stone. I'll see you at the next series. Take care.
All right.
Do we know how long Jesus
Mary and Joseph were there before they knew they were returning, or did they stay there a couple of days while she convalesced?
We don't know how many days, but we know that, you know, later they're in a home somewhere in Bethlehem. And one of the reasons why, you know, Herod had to get, wanted to kill all the children 2 and under. So that doesn't tell us exactly the time age either, that he was scared and wanted, to make sure by 2 years and younger. So we do not, they just didn't tell us exactly how many days, just that this is where he's born. Again, it was really exciting to be able to do this. Like, I probably will never be able to do something like that again with all the people, because apparently you go down, you get to do this, get your picture, and it's like, get out. And I've heard in some instances you can't even do that. If there's too many people, they're just like, you get to see it, take your picture and go. And so it's just a flow of people. Hopefully the next time we go, it's not like that, but we'll see. But again, I also prayed at these sites. I prayed for us as Holy Trinity by the Lake. Like if you remember in April when I did my series at the Wailing Wall, I prayed for you guys and healing. I did the same thing here. There's us, our group, and there's the secret holes. They're probably watching us.
There was probably more people here than any place we ever.
I agree. That's right. Yeah. You could, by the time we got to Bethlehem, you could still now see the tourists are starting to come in. It was the busiest one. And it was just absolutely incredible. So us to get a picture like this too is once a lifetime thing. Now watch us go next time. It's fine. Take pictures. So make a big deal. Again, some of the painting here it is. Beautiful painting in there of Jesus being born. This here is where the trough was, or the manger, the wooden, the stone trough. The trough itself, the manger itself is actually in Italy. They took it and they brought it to Italy. So we did not get to see it, but this is the spot where it was at. So the birth was in one spot and they take it, and that's where this would be actually, hold on, this is actually where you'd see that famous painting, them in the cave, right? Them, and he's in the center, and you see everybody around, which I'm sure is not exactly how that happened, but it's a beautiful painting. And so it's right in here. So they have the candles above it, and it's, right here. See the flooring down below? That's where that would be. Again, you go back upstairs. It's the Greek Orthodox altar. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is truly probably the meanest person I've ever seen in my life. They have arguments of taking care of Bethlehem or the Nativity, and it's how they finally gave the key to one family. And how long was it, Jonathan? They had. You don't know? You knew them. I mean. There is actually one family they finally have given this to, and I want to say 800 years, but don't quote me on that. But it's been handed down, and they're the ones who open. Do you know? Okay. They open up the doors every morning, and they're the ones who lock it up. Why? Because the Greeks, the Catholics, could not get along there. They would always argue. And I always thought that was a little silly when I heard that story back in seminary, until when we were here, and I may even have the picture, I hope, but our tour guide, which this may be him, I don't know why, but he came up here to tell us something about it. And this guy here came over like a buffalo and chewed him out. I mean, and wouldn't, and he's like, yeah, no, okay, I'm sorry, blah, 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 to him. And, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, wow, okay, calm down, dude. Howard hasn't had a heart attack yet, but look at it. I mean, he's the guardian. And I want a closer picture, so y'all be careful if you go to Israel and watch out. Again, just says, oh yeah, here we go. See, he doesn't play around. He came up. Here we are, and our leader was trying to just go up there, and this guy, I think it's Sean Connery. You can talk my state. So anyway, this guy did not play around. So when I heard those rumors in seminary about these families fighting and stuff, so they had to give it to one family, I get it now. They really don't play. This on the side of the Greek, this is still the Greek side of them. One of their side altars. And over here, you can go back, I think, let's see. They're beautiful. Look at the artwork. It's absolutely incredible. Also, if you notice, you see that? The eye?
Cover, look at that.
You ever seen that eye before? Take out a dollar bill,
All seeing eye.
all seeing eye. This is the back side. So I actually I can't believe the guy didn't yell at me, but I went through the back side, and that's when I took that other video that y'all just saw a few minutes ago. Because I took actually 4, and the other ones didn't come out as well, so I wanted that was the best shot I had. But I went back through right here. Look at the tapestry. Look at this is the flooring. They have an opening in the floor so that you can look down. This is actually considered the oldest church in Israel. And the reason being is it here. So you can see down here and over here. You can see the flooring down below. The reason being is you see all these pictures, these beautiful artwork up here, right? And back here, it's back right in the back of the church. The reason that they say it's the oldest one is because when the Persians came in, this is the one building they did not destroy. And the reason being is when they went in and they saw the artwork, they saw the mosaic of the 3 wise men. And the wise men were dressed like they were. And so therefore they could not destroy the building because their people were there. So that's why we get to enjoy. I mean, it's just been redone and remodeled, but it's the oldest one, why we have so much of this, and they didn't destroy. In earlier times, I understand what he was telling us is when there was an attack, they would actually sometimes for generations they buried the cave so that it couldn't be found, and then the family would come back and they would undo it when the danger was over. So thanks be to God for their calling and doing that labor, which they never got to see the future of that, but look what they did so that we can enjoy it today. Look at this beautiful mosaic of that, showing it's a map, if you can't quite tell, right? Here's the Basilica of the Nativity, the Shepherd's Field where we'll go, grotto of the St. Milk Grotto of Virgin Mary. And this is me sitting there, obviously, again, at one of their beautiful doors. Now we're at Church of St. Catherine. You go outside of the Basilica of the Nativity, okay, and now you're going to the Catholic side of everything because everybody has to have their separate parts. And it's absolutely a beautiful courtyard. I took this picture and then I meant to have another picture. It's a beautiful courtyard, I love it. But also this orange tree. Let's see if there's another picture of the orange tree, but I'll go back to this better picture of the orange tree. When we were there, we were about to leave, and I asked one of the security people that there's lots of oranges on it, and I said, "Can I have an orange?" And he's like, "Yeah, hold on." He was doing something. He came back and said, "Yeah, let me get you an orange." And this man sitting here securing this, who must have been the brother of the guy from the altar, chews him out for giving me an orange. And he's like, they're both arguing back and forth, like, basically, I'm giving him an orange, not the tree, and they're just going back and forth. And finally gives me the orange tree, but I don't know if you're going to see this. Hold on. But I tried to take a picture this morning. One of the seeds actually came out for me.
Oh,
And I've got like 4 more seeds that I'm going to try here soon when it gets a little bit warmer and see if I can get it. But yes, I'm very protective of it because it's that tree or the baby of that tree. So that's what I wanted to do is I just want them for the seeds. And I was telling the guy, I grow oranges. I was showing him, all that. He didn't care. You just give me the orange and get out of here, American. So anyway, just a beautiful, again, there's the orange tree right here. Again, I love the Jerusalem cross, and I just thought this pot was absolutely beautiful. They did not sell it in the store, nor how would I get it home. This is the well that was there. So you're just talking about periods of time, right? I mean, these pilgrims, you got to remember, would come to these places. They need to drink. They didn't have running water, at one time. And so they would have this. The beautiful Virgin Mary. And this is inside. So you'd walk in from that door that you'd walk in, and this is what you would see. And here's their altar. And there is a relic right here, and I'm trying to remember what the relic is. I'm so sorry. I have failed you. I'll have to remember what it
St.
is.
Jerome, sir.
Is that his relic? Is it? Is that what it is?
St. Jerome's.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I couldn't remember. I know I'm going to talk about St. Jerome, but I didn't know what the relic. Thank you. That makes sense. So his splinter is right there. So St. Jerome, as you know, he translated into Latin the Bible. And so this is where he was. This is where his tomb was. Jerome spent 30 years of his life living in a cave beside the Church of the Nativity, in which he translated the Bible into Latin. And it was actually used very late until you got to translating again. Right. So anyway, once the place of St. Jerome, priest, doctor of the church. So here's this. I got excited first, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know this, but I saw that. I thought it said Luke at first. I was like, wait a minute. But anyway, and here's another. I'll just show you. Isn't it just beautiful? I mean, look at the work that's done on this. Chapel where this is where he was originally buried. And now we're going to come into. Hold up, let's go over to St. Jerome's cave. Look at that. Well, I just think things are just incredible. They really are. I mean, what patience and beauty to be able to do that. This is the Chapel of the Holy Innocent. And so down here, you know the Holy Innocent, right? The babies that Herod killed. They say are down here. There are lots, apparently there are lots of skeletons when they found it, but they're not quite sure if it's in fact babies from that time or people wanted to be buried by Jesus and where he was born. And so, but they did find small ones, they did find adults, some of the, but in here was a lot of kids. And they think that what happened was it may have been the Holy Innocents that was in there originally, but then when somebody's baby died, this is where they wanted to put them along with them. So another beautiful, it's absolutely gorgeous here. You see the different caves. You go down into the caves for this. Again, I already showed you that. Don't know why it's there again. And it's St. George killing a dragon. It's right by the orange tree. So that was Bethlehem, or that's the nativity scene. The second part we heard in the story today is the shepherds, right? And so we go to the shepherd's field. And so this is the Arab village, sits in the middle of whose fields mentioned in the book of Ruth. If you read Ruth, this is where they're talking about. Has been identified by tradition as the shepherd's field. That is the place where the announcement of Jesus' birth to the shepherds by the angel took place. And have been down below. Remember what we talked about. Above is the church, right? Down below are where the action and where things happen. This is a shepherd. Got some money out of me. Show. Now, anyway, he was walking down. I had to get a picture. We were on the bus and we see him coming. I'm like, oh, a shepherd. And then I realized, no, he's a tourist shepherd. So what he did. Anyway, it is just beautiful. This is the garden area. The church is up here, and the cave will be right over here. Fountain at Shepherd's Field. Again, just absolutely beautiful. We all took a picture in front of it. And then there was excavation at Shepherd's Field. This again, remember how we talked about churches after churches after churches after churches. We saw that at Mary's Cave. Remember all the archaeology that's going on, because over the centuries, and it sounds like it's not a long time, but really it is too. I mean, when you have buildings and stuff and having to rebuild them and seeing not only this, but the different churches that were built here in the area. See, look at this. I mean, look at the stonework. I could have spent days in the archaeology area. Excavation, see. So yeah, so it's the fifth and sixth century Essene church and monasteries. Look at these stones. I mean, they're just incredible. And took a picture of that, and then here's the city behind us. It's the only reason they could go see it, is because I had to give them permission. Right? I had to get my- You like that? I wanted to take that for us, but they got a little frown and I wanted to take it. And this is now the cave chapel at Shepherd's Field. This is inside the Shepherd's Cave itself, where they would have been. This is our guide telling us what's going on. And it was absolutely beautiful. It was really incredible just to be in there. Again, my pictures cannot do justice to actually being there at the time. This is a little side of just showing, again, the story itself.
Ooh.
And here is the star that's above it, obviously signifying, again, inside the cave.
No.
There's our picture inside of it. And again, you can see where they had floors over time. And then the Catholic chapel at Shepherd's Field. This is above. I should say, let me be careful here. This is one of them that is not built directly above, but they actually did a little bit forward. Probably because of engineering and making sure that the church didn't go down and break the cave, right, on people. I love this picture because look how the sun, you see the beam coming down, which I thought was really cool. I did not see that until later when I was doing this. I was like, well, that's really cool. And here is the angel up here and showing, and Karen was telling me that they were saying that the finger itself is always pointing at the North Star, right? The North Star. And so this would represent that.
And it was one of those, wherever you walked, it followed you.
Yeah, look at it. See, no matter where I go, it's looking. I think I saw the head move. So goes with those holes that were in the cave. So inside, beautiful artwork, just absolutely beautiful. Obviously telling the story again. Then also the angel's message to the shepherds in Shepherd's Field Chapel. And so here they are. This would be you see the cave right here? This is what they're showing, right? So they would have been in there. And so anyway, again, see the cave right here? It's where they would have taken care of them. And then they're told, now they're rejoicing because they've heard the good news. They're the first to hear the good news. And so they rejoice. This is the altar that's inside of it. I just love the crosses on here. And then when you look straight up, the dome of the chapel at Shepherd's Field. So it shows stars, show the angels. And this is where the little shepherd boy got me. He's like, wanted me to hold his lamb. And so he got me.
Now talk about that story about why they carried the lamb on their shoulders like
And I got a kiss. See? Should I tell that story? Because it really disturbed us.
Well, but I think it's really interesting, and I think,
Tell the story. I'd like you to tell the story, Karen.
well, the idea was they carried the sheep on their shoulders like that because this would have been one of the wayward sheep, a sheep that sort of went away from the pack, like, the one that was lost. When one happened like that, when they were little, then they would break a leg of the sheep so that they couldn't walk. So the shepherd would have to hold the sheep on his shoulders until the break healed. But it's one of the reasons why the sheep were so close to the shepherd and really identified with their own shepherd, because he had handled them as young babies.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that cave that we saw, I don't know, I'd like to just make the point that that shepherd's cave was where they would take the sheep inside to get them outside the weather and to feed them. But it was really clear to me sitting in that cave that when we hear the story about Jesus, the good shepherd, and he talks about the shepherd, the sheep know my name and so forth, and they won't wander, the shepherd would lie in the opening of that cave to keep those sheep from going out so that they could be safe from whatever the danger was outside.
It's where Jesus talks about, right? He talks about being the shepherd, but he also talks about being the gate.
Right.
Right? Because they would lay down so that if they tried to get out, they would feel that. But yeah, I was a little surprised. It's one of those I didn't know that they would actually break the leg of the thing and then put it over and they would heal it, but it would walk with them the whole time. I was like, man, that kind of changes the scene. Across.
Just that you don't break anyone's legs.
I was gonna say, just because we mess up, don't get any idea.
I just got it.
So when you see
But also what we've talked about, so that's what I showed you here, Zoe is absolutely right. They put the sheep in here, right? And they're the gate, see the gate of them? And so, but also they would stay in there, and the shepherd, just like Zoe is saying, a shepherd would come out here and they would call out. So they could be, see, as you see 3 shepherds here, the only sheep that'll come out are the one that shepherd calls for. So these other sheep will push against the other ones, and they'll start coming out, and they'll start forming a line. They hear, and that's when Jesus is talking about, they hear my voice and they know my voice. They know me. And that's exactly what Zoe's just talking about. So, all right. And so, yeah, again, the stars, which is beautiful. And then, yeah, he got me. Gave me a kiss, yeah. And until the next adventure, guys. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. That's Christmas.
Did you not take any, show the other we went to that was run by the British?
I did not have any pictures of that, and I don't know why.
You don't? Oh,
No, and I kept thinking to myself, because I can remember us going back the back way, right?
uh-huh.
Yeah, and I kept saying, am I losing my mind? But no.
I have a bunch of them. I'll send them to you.
Okay. All right. Well, guys,
This is.
thank you all for being here today. I hope you learned something and got to see the pictures of where all of this actually happened. And so let us enjoy the rest of our Advent together. And just love you guys. Take care. Blessings. Let's go worship.
Not